Rivers State has once again become the theater of Nigeria's most intense political drama. Governor Siminalayi Fubara finds himself at the center of a storm and has refused to calm since he assumed office. From open clashes with his predecessor and now political rival, Nyesom Wike, to the constant tussle with a state assembly where the APP holds 22 of the 23 seats, Fubara's ability to govern has been under constant strain. His conspicuous absence from the recent welcome back ceremony for state lawmakers only added fuel to the fire. However, he did show up a day after. It raised questions about whether he is asserting independence or quietly being sidelined into his own state. At stake is not just Fubara's political survival, but the credibility of Nigeria's federal structure. Can a sitting governor truly exercise the mandate of his office, or will Abuja's shadow always loom large over state politics? The declaration of an emergency rule in Rivers has further inflamed debate. Some insist it is a constitutional necessity for stability, while others, they describe it as a dangerous overreach that undermines democracy. The legality of this move and its precedent for other states remains hotly contested as we speak.
But perhaps most pressing is the will of the people themselves. Where do Rivers citizens stand in all of this? Do they see these battles as elite power struggles detached from their daily struggles, or as defining contest for their democratic future? If emergency rule continues, what does that mean for governance, development, and civil liberties? If it is lifted, can Fubara and his opponents truly reconcile, or is Rivers locked into an endless cycle of instability? These are the urgent questions confronting Rivers today, questions that cut to the heart of Nigeria's democracy. And let's welcome our guests to help us unpack these dynamics. We have Jake Epelle, who is a policy and development analyst, and we also have Mr. Anabs. We also have Mr. Anabs Saraigbe, who is Rivers Elders Council. Good morning, gentlemen, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. I would like to start with Mr. Anabs here. Let's start by asking the big picture regarding the state of emergency. Let's talk about the legality of it. Most people have said that the genesis of all of this is actually ego dressed up as governance that triggered a declaration of emergency rule. But Mr. Anabs, what in your opinion is the true cause of that emergency rule?
Much. My view is that the emergency rule is unconstitutional, illegal, contrary to Section 1, 2, 3, and 4, because the Nigerian Constitution is very clear as to how the state will be governed, how the country will be governed. And they said no other means other than the constitutional means should be allowed to rule a government in any party state of the government. The Constitution did not envisage for a state of emergency that will sack governments. In Section 11.4, it was very clear where the Constitution empowered the National Assembly to make laws in the absence of state of assembly. But the same Section 11.4, the last paragraph, it is very clear that nothing in this section shall empower the National Assembly to make laws that will remove the governor or a deputy governor from office. They relied on Section 305. Section 305 is meant for states like Borno State, Benue State, Plateau State, Zamfara State, and other states where there are security threats. Rivers State was not a security threat at all. So for a president to declare a state of emergency, I think it's absurd. It's not purely legal, it's not constitutional. And if we should rule democratic government like a military dictatorship, then it's unfortunate, because Nigeria don't need dictatorship. We don't need any military coup anymore. And if a democratic elected governor will bring in the military to run the government, it's quite unfortunate.
Okay, so now, Mr. Anabs, you've just noted that, or you said, according to you, that it is illegal, but it has happened. Democracy rule has been reinstated. Now, from now on, what do you think might happen in Rivers State? How do you think the exercise of governance is going to go, seeing the dynamic that we currently have here with a council or chairman across the state, 22 local governments. We have 22 of them, the APP, and then just one from another party. What do you think this dynamics means for Rivers State?
Almighty that he has assisted to restore democracy back in Rivers State. I also thank the governor, because if not for the type of governor we have, maybe there would have been breakdown of law and order in Rivers State when there was no need for that. And I also thank the regional leaders like Palm Niger Delta Forum, the lawyers, and all Nigerians who came out in full towns to say, look, enough of this, and this is not fair. We thank them immensely. The Rivers people are happy with them. The Rivers people are today happy that we have gotten our governor. The governor we elected is back in the state. Having said that, what I bridges across all stakeholders, including those you call the driveries, because we don't need problem again in Rivers State. The few period, the 6 months, was a waste to Rivers people, because the Cheta did not do anything. All he came to do was to launch lavish our resources the way he likes, without any meaningful development in the state. And that is a big loss to the state. So I believe all the characters involved have learned their lessons. We have all learned lessons from what has happened in the past. So the governor, as he has come back, is a peaceful person. He should continue with his peaceful style of government leadership and ensure that the build bridges, reach out to all the parties involved so that we can get peace and have good governance in the states.
Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Epelle, the presidency justified the emergency rule on grounds of security and governance breakdown. What's your take on it?
I think we have moved from crying over the spilled milk to seeing how much we can gather it and have a sweet tea. Whatever they said, they know that they were not absolutely correct. And so the issue of whether there was a breakdown of law and order that necessitated the emergency rule has become history. They know that what they did was unconstitutional. I know that the president has a right to declare the state of emergency, but the elected president has no right to remove an elected government. We've said it times without numbers. So let's move forward. The issue right now is what they have done have further tested the popularity of Siminalayi. And truly and really, the people love him. But what he does with the people is what matters. We've always stood on principle that this fight for democracy is not just about Fubara, it's about the office he occupies. It's about the people of Rivers State. It is about the soul of democracy. It's about the civility that the Rivers man is known for. And that's what we will continue to fight. If he comes and represents the principles of democracy and what the people needs, he will get our support. If he doesn't, there are many of us that will stand up and say no. So it's not a case of who he represents. It's a case of him representing the people. And that's what matters.
Yeah, so Mr. Epelle, the governor said yesterday that the president had brokered peace, with all parties, and, they've agreed to bury their hatchet. So now I want to talk about the local government election that happened under the emergency rule. Do you think that will stand or is going to be null and void now that we have Governor Fubara back?
Complication. The distorted judicial structure had cost us is the fact that they based decision on the fact that he did not obey the number of days required before that election will hold. Now we see a repeat performance, even a worse repeat performance, in the current situation, what I envisage, which is really, truly what I probably will not pray for, but what I envisage is that there's going to be a myriad of court cases. People will stand up and challenge the legality of this so-called local government election chairman. They were horridly put together. I can tell you for free that we've come of age and we cannot accept whatever anybody imposes on us as Rivers people. We will accept the true principle of justice. We will accept the true principle of democracy. We will accept the will of the people and the morality of every decision, if it is truly moral. So let's see how it plays out. But right now, my focus and the focus of every well-meaning Rivers people is to see that governance will take a course and that the three arms of government will work together in order to move the state forward. We've been taken for granted. Our resources have been drained. People that don't have the right have siphoned our resources. And some of us will stand up and challenge because leadership is all about accountability. And accountability is responsible leadership. And so we will stand up to that. And I dare say that Abbas must be held accountable for what he did and how he spent what he spent. Period.
Mr. Anabs, now I can't help but note that there is a sense of, let's just get on with business. Let's get on back on top of things. There's a sense of optimism with your comments there, and which I appreciate. However, there is also very detailed, nuances to take note of here when it comes to how governance is to proceed. We have joining us in the studio here Cheta Nwanze, who is lead partner at SBM Intelligence. And I'd like to ask you this question, Cheta. Cheta, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us through the odds this morning. Thank you.
I'll send you an invoice because you are responsible.
Well, it's very interesting to see that Rivers people are ready to just get on with it. They spent 6 months and they've called it a waste, according to Mr. Anabs here, Mr. Epelle. Nothing's happened when it comes to development. But then again, if governance is all about development and providing for the people, you have to have a handshake between legislative and executive. We have a very interesting dynamic here, especially when it comes to the local government chairman. How will Governor Siminalayi Fubara navigate these waters? And then at the end, what prospects for his future as a politician even?
Thank you for having me. I don't think that Sim Fubara has so many prospects for the long term. Short to medium term, he probably has some prospects. At the end of the day, he's still the executive governor. But one thing that this has shown is that he's not a very strong character. And people would have noted and they will take advantage of it. He didn't fight for his position, despite the fact that what we saw was constitutional overreach by the president. And I think that's where we have to start from. You can't have sustainable development when people are willing to trample on the set laws of the land. And more importantly, the judiciary just basically sits back and throws its face away. I think that the biggest travesty of the entire saga is the fact that the Supreme Court for 6 months did not hear a case that was brought before it on the legality of this. What has happened is that they've essentially set a precedent which will become a norm going forward. And you will find that a lot of more people will be willing to challenge Mr. Fubara on basically inanities because they know that he's going to be walking on eggshells for basically the rest of his tenure.
And what does that portend for the state, for governance in the state?
Instability. I mean, if we want to be brutally frank, Rivers has not been known to be the most stable state when it comes to governance. The Rivers State has so many larger-than-life personalities, and at the bottom of this, there's a personality clash. So I see it continuing. I don't see the FCT minister, and it's interesting that he's not being mentioned, but he was one of those that was called for a peace meeting. I don't see him letting go just like that. So you will see these various attempts at personalizing power and more overreach.
Now, thank you for saying that.
So when you say letting go, are you saying that Governor Fubara is just, how do they call it? Will I just say figurehead and is not in charge?
Essentially, he has become a figurehead, yes. If that was the case, before, but it was just implied, now it's clear for everybody to see, and people will act accordingly, even if it's unsaid.
But based on his speech yesterday, he mentioned that, the president had, gracefully had, he had a meeting with all the parties
And that's the key thing. The president has gracefully had. It's a democracy. We're not in a monarchy. So why is everybody dancing around the president? We are giving the presidency too much power in our democracy. There are supposed to be 3 arms of government: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. The other 2 failed in their duties in this whole saga. Look at witness the votes in the National Assembly that let the state of emergency pass. There's no record of who voted for what. Despite the fact that there were people who protested loudly, they were overruled. It was a voice vote. That was a failure. I've talked about the judicial failure. So we have given more power to the presidency. This is not about the person of Bola Tinubu. This is about our democracy. You are vesting too many powers in the person of the president, and here's the fact. Bola Tinubu will not be president forever, however way you look at it. By 2031 maximum, he's done. So the question we should be asking ourselves, whoever succeeds him, whether it is Mazino, whether it is, no, not you, a woman, whether it is Yahaya Bello, whether it is Kashim Shettima, whether it is Nasser El-Rufai, whoever succeeds him, do you want that person to have all of these powers?
Okay.
These are the questions we should be asking.
There's so much to take away from what you have just said. But first of all, I would like to point out that there have been people who have come back from this kind of instance in the past in Nigerian politics. Ayo Farishe is one of them. Peter Obi is another one. And you can see the level at which they both came back, the furor with which they both came back. But that aside, I want to come to Mr. Jake Epelle here now. Regarding this, the imputes that Cheta has just revealed, he has just told. Like I said from before I asked him that question, there seems to be a sentiment when it comes to people of River State and how they are attending to the issue currently. They want to get it over and done with. Let's just get on with governance. But then these issues have to be taken apart and scrutinized whether you like it or not. This handshake that we speak about between the executive and the legislature, let's bring in the Amaole factor. How do you see the cooperation between these arms going on, well, from now on? Mr. Jake Epelle, please.
Well, you see, anybody and everybody can work together if there is sincerity of purpose. I haven't seen, even looking at the optics, that relationship in terms of the executive arm, talking about Governor Fubara, and the legislative assembly, the state assembly. If there is, that rapport exists in secrecy. They need to come out in the open and let us know that there is. But there's something that we should carefully observe that is going on. There's a power play, a sort of a vendetta that is likely to play out, which will form a talking point in the future. And that is, who brought Abbas? And whoever brought Abbas, if Mr. Wike was not part of it, there is likely to be not a witch hunt, but an insistence to hold Abbas accountable. That would be the next level of political melodramatic dynamics that will play out. Because now we're getting the feelers where the State Assembly is insisting that they must probe Abbas. If truly and really he was coming from the camp of Wike, I don't think that would have happened. So there must be somewhere, somehow, a drum that is being played and a masquerade that is dancing in the open. And we will find out as the day unveils.
So, Cheta, I think
Now, here's one thing. I'm very philosophical when I make my analysis. Yes, you see, that belongs to the people, and you pocket it. One day, God will set up a scenario and orchestrate a strategy that would make you vomit that money. It doesn't matter how long it takes. And so, like I said, the Rivers people resources have been stolen, siphoned by certain individuals and groups, and they think that we have become the cake that anybody can share and eat and go away. It will not happen. God Almighty, the laws of nature will stand up and fight until every market woman resources, until every student of Rivers State, until every professional of Rivers Indigene, until every old person that would die in a hospital that they would have used this money to equip, to provide the medication, until they return them and ensure that the rightful owners of these resources take them and develop within themselves. Until they return it, I tell you, I'm not a prophet of doom. They will not have peace.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jake, for that response. Now, Mr. Anabs, my question to you would be, what role do you see the Rivers Elders Council, the traditional leaders, and the civil society playing, to stabilize Rivers State and, the political environment now that Governor Fubara is back?
Well, thank you. I think what we are saying, the Rivers State Elders are saying now, is that the governor to reach out to the State House of Assembly and ensure that there's a proper dialogue that we usher in peace, understanding, and cooperation. We should also reach out to Nyesom Wike and ensure that there's a good working relationship between two of them. As soon as we achieve that, then there will be peace in the state. The issue of local government chairman, I think the society has a right to talk. But as far as I'm concerned, State Fubara should not bother himself to go into that, and as well as also probing the sole administrator, because today in Nigeria, we don't have a judiciary. The judiciary has compromised to an extent that they are an appendix to the presidency. We don't also have the National Assembly. They are also an appendix to the presidency. The theory of separation of power is no longer in Rivers Nigerian politics. Therefore, there will be no point to insist on rights, because whatever right you have, when the judiciary cannot interpret it the way it should be, it becomes nonsense. So the government should not bother himself with all this. We have lost 6 months already of development. Like I said, the administrator did not do anything within the 6 months that we can see. That hasn't brought any peace, but there was peace in the state before he came. Until he left, there was peace. So he did not really spend our money to achieve anything meaningful for us. We have lost it. Our money has been looted and squandered in any way they like. So let the governor come in now, concentrate on peace building, and see how we can develop the state and cover up these 6 months that we have lost. Because if you want to pursue it as a governor, you will get another fight, and that will take us back. But if you try to make peace with everybody, all concerned, that we are the same family. Rivers State are the same. If I don't in one political camp today, maybe in another political camp tomorrow. Politics is all about interest. The moment everybody's interest is carried out, peace will be achieved. And when there is peace, every other thing can go on. But that does not stop other interested parties outside the governor who will take the matter to court. They are guarding their good cases. The Supreme Court today rule against itself in some cases. Therefore, one is afraid if one can go to the Supreme Court and get through good judgment. Otherwise, the local government was not properly constituted as it is, when they did not follow the Constitution, neither did not follow the Electoral Act. All the Rivers State Independent electoral they did not follow all that. Mr. President has the power to override the Constitution or the Electoral Act or any other law in Nigeria through a order. It is not done anywhere.
Thank you, Mr. Anabs, once again.
But Governor, please, Mr. Governor, to bully their here. See how you can make peace. Don't listen to any advice that will bring other trouble to the state. Let's go for peace now. Let us see how we can develop the state.
Thank you, Mr. Anabs, again. Now, while the governor should focus on peace building, Cheta, I'd like to know 6 months, and then there's queries that the interim, emergency governor perhaps maybe squandered or didn't even do much when it comes to development. I'd like to know how much you think grassroots actually suffered in those 6 months of emergency rule. I'd also like you to tell us what you think would happen for grassroots now that Fubara is back in all his popularity when it comes to grassroots. How will he amend anything that perhaps they might have suffered through the past 6 months?
Let's get one thing straight. Fubara isn't popular. If Fubara were popular, there would have been more of a reaction.
You're saying he isn't popular?
I'm saying he is not popular.
He isn't, okay.
If he was popular, there would have been more of a reaction when he was unceremoniously removed. I mean, the reaction tells you everything. The fact that now he squandered an opportunity to actually raise his popularity because he was seen in the state merely as a sort of like appendage of Wike. Wike imposed him on people. So his popularity or whatever it is, his support was not organic. And when Wike withdrew that support, we saw the results. Now, he missed an opportunity to actually build some popularity by failing to stand for what was his rights. Now, let us cast our mind back. You mentioned Fayose. You mentioned Peter Obi. I'll add Joshua Dariye.
Yeah.
When these people were removed, they fought for their position. They didn't just sit back and then go and start. They didn't capitulate. Thank you for that word. They didn't capitulate and then go and start begging, which is what Fubara did. So essentially, again, for me, everything is details. The broad picture, which is what I'm interested in, is a precedent has been set. By the inaction of Fubara himself, by his failure to stand on principle, by the failure of the courts to stand on principle. And we are going to see this kind of thing play out in future. And that's really bad. Now we keep hearing about, oh, let us have peace, let us have peace. What peace is worth it without justice? Because when you have peace without justice, you will still have the simmering tensions. And it is an unpredictable thing, something that nobody foresees, that will bring everything up, that will cause a spark. You have to settle the issues on the ground. And there are a lot of issues. First issue is, does a former governor have a right to keep trying to dictate what is happening in a state after he has governed for 8 years? The answer should be no. So why are we still having this kind of discussions?
Cheta, listen, unfortunately, we've run out of time because we have one more segment we must get to, but Queen had a very interesting question, very summary question she wanted to...
Yes, so earlier you mentioned that, President Tinubu will not be president forever, and then you said...
Will he be?
Well, of course, no, he has a tenure that he needs to rule for. And then you said Mazino, and then I pointed at myself and you said, no, you're a woman. So are you saying that Nigeria can never have a woman president?
In the current dispensation, no. Nigerian politics as it is not configured to allow women to rise to the top. It is that simple. It's an unfortunate fact.
It's not a misogynistic...
It's not misogynistic. It's an unfortunate fact. I think that some of our best if we have Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, if we have Amina Mohammed, if we had Ibukuna Usika running the country will be a better place, in my view. But given the current setup of Nigerian politics, none of them can rise to the top. It's that simple.
Okay. We draw the curtains here. But Cheta, thank you very much for that submission. Also, thank you very much, Mr. Jake Epelle. We really appreciate that you took out time this morning to join us. And also, Mr. Anabs Saraigbe. Thank you very much, sir, all three of you, for joining us on this conversation.
Thank you, gentlemen.
I do not totally agree with him. The women can have a place. It doesn't matter the political structure. One day, a woman will rise to the occasion and take the place. It doesn't matter the political structure. I
do not mind if you elaborate on that, sir, because it's a very interesting, and thank you for actually bringing that back.
Can we have the debates? I'm ready.
If you will, if we can have a 5-minute debate on that.
I'm the only lady here, so I'll just stay in the middle.
No, we can. We can.
Go ahead, sir.
The situation was not given to Margaret Epo in Calabar. She rose to the occasion. The situation
But she didn't rise to the top.
To Ransom Kuti. She rose to the occasion. The situation was not given to the Kamala Harris. Yes, she didn't emerge, but she rose to the occasion. The point is that if we keep thinking that the environment has to be right in our senses for the cause of women to emerge, we will keep missing it. One day, a woman will spring surprises. I'm ready to debate this anytime.
Okay, I completely disagree, sir. I think I'll recommend reading Love is Not Politics and Love, or Love is Not Politics by Aisha Osori. It's a very, 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 very interesting compendium of the challenges that Nigerian women face in our modern political space. And I was very clear in my language. I said, as currently configured, everything works against the emergence of a woman. Let's start with late night meetings. How many women can attend late night meetings? That's the base fact. Let's start with the fact that we are wired in a misogynistic way such that when a woman, you see it in, for example, interviews, when an accomplished woman is talking to a group of Nigerian journalists, questions start coming up of, oh, do you cook for your husband at home? Do you wash his clothes? Do you do the dishes? See, as long we have a mental block, and it is time for us to confront that. I think it's interesting that he raised the examples of Margaret Epo, Funmilayo Ransom Kuti. What was the common thing in all of them? It was pre-independence.
Interesting. There's also another checklist that women have to first of all go through before they are even considered for positions.
Where are they from?
Amongst the items in this checklist is education. And if you've taken note, the names that you have mentioned of very highly educated women before they could be taken relevantly. While when you flip the case, on the mill,
we have the three women I mentioned, Okonjo Iweala, Amina Mohammed, Ibukun Awosika, are highly educated. But let's take Okonjo Iweala as an example.
Oh, no time, Cheta.
She's from Delta State. Her parents are from Delta State. She married a man from Abia State. And this is something that my own wife will face. My wife is Yoruba, I'm Igbo. Now, if she wants to run for office, where will she run? People will find ways to reject her on both sides of the aisle.
Cheta, you've just opened our eyes to a conveation that we must have.
Listen,
yeah,
guys,
Mr. Jake is in.
Let me say that I do respect your views, and I am very optimistic. Even with the current situation, you're sounding a bit pessimistic. However, my brother, the position that Okonjo.
Oh wow, we seem to have lost him.
Zoom is being pessimistic.
Oh.
I was enjoying that, Mr. Jake Epelle. I don't know if you're still submitting, but we have lost you, unfortunately. Our apologies, but I think that Cheta, yourself, and Queen have just given us another topic to have as a big, robust conversation, and I'm very excited about that. Thank you very much, Queen.
You're welcome.
For the wahala you've just brought on this day. Thank you very much to Mr. Anabs Saraigbe as well, and thank you very much, Cheta, for honoring our request.
And for the clarity.
Yes. Now, this is what we say goodbye for the show today. We have another installment for tomorrow. Do not forget. However, we're going to leave you with a little takeout.